keeping a quiet heart and how it matters that all things are spiritual things, not just what we think are. And I've been listening this morning to a video. It was a podcast of Elizabeth Elliot, but they have it on YouTube. And I'm going to leave the link in the description if you care about listening to it. It's a one, I mean, I'm just like, I needed to hear that this morning. Uh, my heart just, I was so excited. I had to just go ahead and do another video because I hope that it will help all of you. Um, I've become really bad about thinking that most of my work is things I just have to do, and things that I do, like cooking lunch even looking after my husband, my dad, and my husband, and such. A lot of times that's just things. I got to get up and do that. I got to get up and do that, or I have to do this or that. I'm starting to say in my mind, even before this video, that I get to go take my dad to the grocery store. I've got to try to use that frame of mind because before you know it, you feel like it's work more than an honor. My dad is 97 years old and he needs help, and I quit work to do that. And sometimes and I'm sure I'm not the only one, being a caregiver, it feels like a burden. And it shouldn't feel like a burden because once they're gone, you're really going to miss them. And we need to understand that it doesn't matter. Like this weekend, I was given the privilege to go and hand out meals to homeless and really extreme poor people. And that blessed me. And I'm thinking, that should be no different than preparing a meal for my husband or my dad. That should be the same blessing to me than to go in and doing it for the homeless. Because especially after hearing this video, it bothered me in a bit that I felt good about myself. And I felt like, is that why I'm doing it? And that wasn't why I did it, but I started feeling good about myself. So I'm thinking, oh, maybe something's wrong here. Maybe I shouldn't be doing that. And this video popped up this morning. And I wish I could play it, but I'm going to read some of it. If you don't know who Elizabeth Elliot is, do a Google search of her. She has passed away now, but she was a missionary in Ecuador. She went back after her husband, Jim Elliot, had been martyred in the early 1950s. She and her daughter, Valerie, who was only 3, they went back and taught the same people, the men that killed her husband, those 5 men. They ministered to them. They were missionaries to them, and she felt like that was what God wanted her to do, because she had her daughter, and now she's widowed, and she felt like they didn't get the word sent to them, but they killed these men, and they saw how they died. They had guns and rifles and things in their helicopter. So they could have protected and defended themselves, and they didn't. And it's a really wonderful story. There's books called Through the Gates of Splendor. It tells about the story. There's even a video on YouTube. You can watch it. And it's fascinating. After that, she became a very large, had a ministry of teaching women. Mainly it's women. There were men that came, but mostly it was their husbands. And it was about the women and how to be good wives and mothers, and for God, and whether you worked or not. So she wrote a lot of books, and this is coming out of the book, one of my favorite books of all time, so Keep a Quiet Heart. And I've actually done videos on excerpts of that book before. But I'm going to press this. I think I turned the volume down. No, I didn't. And I'm going to read some of it to you. And I hope you stick with me because it's really important. Let me get to the right point about serving and having a ministry. How we all want to have a ministry. And our ministry should be in our home if we don't have one outside the home. Because for a while there, I taught Sunday school. For years, I taught Sunday school. And I ended up doing it for Sunday morning, Sunday night, and Wednesday night. And I really enjoyed doing it, felt good about myself, but I miss sitting up there with my husband. And it gave the younger women a chance to get a break from their children, and they were able to sit up there and enjoy that. So I felt like that was like it's a Titus 2 thing I should do. But I shouldn't have done all three of them. And I tried to get out of it, but no one ever volunteered anymore to do it. And I ended up going into the hospital, and that's when someone else had to step up and fill in. And I never went back to doing it because COVID happened, and I just haven't gone back to helping out. And I wouldn't mind helping out one class, but not the three. I don't want to be away from my husband and next to him in Sunday school anymore. But I'm going to read this to you. Please, I hope you're still with me. Let me see if I can see it okay. Here we go. Trust in the living God. And his friend said, I do trust in spiritual things. I trust in spiritual things. And everything is an affair of the Spirit. So when you think of trusting in sovereignty of God, you realize that God's sovereignty probes every single area of your life. And let's not make the very common mistake of separating the spiritual from the physical, or which is spiritual work as opposed to that which is housework, for example. There is no dichotomy difference for a Christian. Everything that I do is meant to be an offering for Jesus Christ. All that I am, all that I have, and all that I do, and all that I suffer is meant to be an offering to Jesus Christ. Do you suppose, ladies, that Jesus is more interested? Wait for it to scroll up. Or shall we say, even more impressed with my standing in front of an audience like this and speaking than he is in the way I iron my husband's shirt or clean the bathtub? I don't think so. I don't think there is any difference in God's eyes. There is a time for me to iron a shirt, and a time to clean the bathroom, and a time to speak to a group of ladies. It just happens that this is part of my assignment, but this is not spiritual work as opposed to the rest. It's all for Jesus. And I want you to get that into your heads as clearly as you possibly can, because of some of you have been thinking, I wish I could do something really wonderful for God. I wish the Lord would give me a ministry. Well, if you're a mother, God has given you a ministry, hasn't he? A lady said to my mother one day, or she said to me, I guess after my mother had died, she said, what did your mother do outside of the house? And I said, nothing at all. She said, you mean she didn't have any ministry? And I said, well, we were her ministry, her 6 children. And she said, she gave her whole life to her 6 children? I said, yes. And I said, if you would ask my mother what she did, that is what she would tell you. She raised 6 children for God. And she said to me, this woman just looked at me with the most pitying expression. And she said, well, that means she didn't have any life of her own, did she? And I said, if you had asked my mother if she had a life of her own, my mother would not have had the foggiest notion what you were talking about. We were the ministry that God had given her. I don't know what ministry God has given you, but I know he's given every single one of you a ministry. Ministry means service. It doesn't mean anything else. You must get that through your heads. Trust in his sovereignty. I would like to end this with Colossians 3:23. That's one of my favorite verses. It's one I really want to keep in mind at all times, that whatever I'm doing it to serve the Lord and not to men. And whatever you do, do it heartily as to the Lord and not to men, knowing that from the Lord you will receive the award of inheritance, for you serve the Lord Christ. I love that. I love that verse in the Bible, and that's my inspiration verse, I think. And I love listening to Elizabeth Elliot. If you don't have, don't listen to a lot of YouTube, I don't know. She comes on Bible Broadcasting Network. My station is 89.5 FM. I'm not sure what yours is, but it's you can also catch it on your internet. You can go to Bible Broadcasting Network, and it's under the different programs. And she's one of the women speakers, and she's very. I love listening to her. It's 15 minutes long. That's all it is. I used to actually listen to her as I did my Gazelle, and I would do, but it'd be like a little Bible study as I did my Gazelle. I think I may start doing that again. She's passed away. These are all recordings, but there's a lot of them, and then you can listen to a lot of her stuff online. This book was from Keep a Quiet Heart, one of my favorite books. I would definitely recommend that book if you don't ever get another one by a woman author. I don't care for a lot of the women authors. I don't like women authors who are real loud and it sounds like they're screaming sometimes, or those speakers like that. I like her because she really speaks more on issues for women and in our ministry at home, how important that is. So I hope you will take a peek at that, and it'll be in my description, the link to this particular video. Hope you have a blessed day. Thank you so much for listening. Bye-bye. And don't forget to keep a quiet heart. Bye-bye.